If I could talk to the animals, just imagine it, chatting with a chimp and chimpanzee. Imagine talking to a tiger, chatting with a cheetah. What a neat achievement it would be if we could talk to the animals, learn all their languages, maybe take an animal degree. I'd study elephant and eagle, buffalo and beagle, alligator, guinea pig, and flea.
Hello and welcome to Pet Watch, a monthly program about the services provided by your Williamson County Animal Control and Adoption Center. We produce this program each month to try to keep you informed about all the things that are available to you at the Animal Control Center. Today we're going to focus on pet adoption, and my special guest for the first segment to talk about cat adoption is Marci Adams. Welcome, Marci.
Well, thank you for having me here on the show.
You're welcome. Many of you may recognize Marci as a person who does our Pet of the Week segment often, which shows up on our website, on WCTV, and sometimes on YouTube. Marci is one of our adoption specialists. She's one of the first people you see when you walk into the Animal Control Center. And I would like to call her the cat whisperer, if you'll allow me that.
Sure.
Marci, you've become sort of our resident cat expert.
Well, thank you.
And of course, our goal is to adopt out all of our animals to the best possible home. And we want to talk today about some of the considerations for a person who might be considering adopting a cat. What would you say is the first thing a person should consider, or a family should consider, if they think they might want a cat?
Well, I think really foremost would be financial. You know, a lot of times people think that it's merely just, feeding and watering an animal or, a cat, and there's so much more involved in that. Veterinary care, of course, is very important,
Right.
because they need yearly vaccines, and so I would definitely say that would probably be foremost on the list.
And some of the other things that might come up other than veterinary care, which like you said, you have to go at least once a year. Then your animal could become ill.
Yes,
there can be emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be prepared to be able to receive medical care or seek medical care for the cat.
Mm-hmm.
When cats typically come into animal control, many times their owner surrendered. And let's talk a little bit about the path a cat might take. If someone shows up at animal control with a cat that they no longer can care for,
Mm-hmm.
or a stray cat that they found, what happens at our door from when they come in the door till they make it to adoption? Can you tell us some of the steps the animal might go through?
Okay. Well, initially, when they're brought in, they are vaccinated and wormed immediately. We do that for all of the cats and the dogs that come into the facility. Depending on whether they are an owned, previously owned animal or a stray, there is a general time period when they will stay in an impound area. Sometimes the cats that come in as owner surrenders can go immediately into adoption, which is very nice. The strays, however, we do require a 7 working day hold to allow an owner to try to find them.
Right, and just like a dog, a cat is required to have a rabies tag in Williamson County. And if it has that tag, we can find the owner. So that's one of the services we provide, and we like to reunite because cats are known to wander off. They're a little different than dogs in that they're not usually confined to a fenced area, and especially if a house cat happens to escape from the house, they are kind of lost out in the environment, and we can really help remedy that situation by reuniting them with their owner if we can. There's such a wide variety of cats and kittens, and we're coming into kitten season.
Yes.
And unfortunately, many pet owners do not spay or neuter their animals, and
Yes.
of course a cat or dog that you adopt from Williamson County Animal Control will be spayed or neutered.
Mm-hmm.
But it's astronomical the number of unwanted kittens that 2 unsterilized cats can produce in 7 years. It's 420,000 cats. So that's another responsibility that an owner of any animal, whether they get it from us or another source, or their neighbor says, "Do you want a cat?" Sure. Well, have it spayed or neutered first, because
Oh, definitely.
I wouldn't want to be responsible for that many cats and kittens. It's just too many to adopt. So a healthy cat gets moved into our adoption area.
Yes.
We brought today one of our adoptable animals. We have Artemis The cat, for some reason, she got a boy's name, but we're gonna go with it. And Marci's gonna get Artemis out. Artemis is a young cat, about 3 to 4 months, and she's never been on TV before, but I think she's gonna do fine. When a person comes in the door at Animal Control and they want a cat and they say, I'd like to look at the cats, we have 2 areas. Right, we have a kitten area. Some parts of the year it's open, and then we have an adult cat area.
Yes.
Now Artemis is currently in which area is she in? If somebody came into the shelter.
Well, they did go ahead and put her into the adult room. She's a little bit older, so they thought that she would do fine in there. And also, we are trying to, I think, save the kitten room for the very, tiny 6-7 week olds.
Right.
And right now, she'll get much more exposure in the cat room because she will be one of the smallest kitties in there. She'll probably get adopted pretty quick.
Yeah. She's beautiful. We have such a variety of cats. We have, every color of the rainbow. Some people come in wanting a tabby cat or a tiger or white or a long hair or a short hair. And we have so many for them to pick from. It's a wonderful source for a cat. And cats are so loving. Look at her. I think she could be a lap cat.
Yes, I would say, and she's purring right now.
Now, where
too.
did your love of cats start, and where did it come from?
Oh my gosh, I really don't know. I think it came from my grandmother, to be honest. And the love of animals, I think, skipped a generation because my mother really, not that she wasn't fond of them, we just didn't have a lot of animals when I was younger, but it's kind of a funny story. She told me, my mother, that my first word was kitty. And she was really disappointed because usually it's mama or something. Yeah. But I think I actually was born loving cats, to be honest with you.
Yeah, probably because you wanted one. Your grandmother had them and you thought, Mama, kitty, kitty.
I think so.
In our center, there is a room with a number of cat kennels, and a person can go in there and read what we call the kennel card for each cat. And I found that people that come to the shelter, they love to hear the backstory. Yes. And even if you just know it came from the South Williamson County area or it was a stray, they want that story because I think they're there because they want to adopt an animal that needs them. And they feel a need for the animal. It's kind of a reciprocal relationship when you have a pet. It's not something you just water and feed, like you said. It's part of your life. There will be dander in the house. There will be vet visits. How do cats' personalities vary? I don't know a lot about cats, but I'm sure that their personalities vary the way that dogs' personalities do.
Oh, certainly. They certainly do. There are cats that are quite independent. People would call them aloof. Generally, they're looking for staff instead of, somebody to basically take care of them and house them and feed them. And they'll show you affection, but a lot of times that'll be on their terms. And then we have someone here like Artemis who is obviously a people person and is just very comfortable sitting in my arms. Anybody looking for a kitty that was very affectionate or people-oriented, she would definitely be that, the kind of kitty that they'd be looking for.
Now, when a person comes in and sees a cat that they like, and they make a sort of connection with the cat, how can they interact there at the shelter? What are their options for taking the cat out of the kennel and interacting with it for a little while?
Oh, certainly. We have a wonderful outdoor porch that was built by some Boy Scouts, and the cats love it. It is an opportunity for them to actually sort of interact with the outdoors, get some fresh air and just really enjoy themselves. And so what a potential adopter could do is take that cat out onto the porch so that they would be able to interact with them on a one-on-one basis to see if it's the cat for them.
Right, and the cat will enjoy a little time outside. And I've seen our volunteers use that cat porch. It's really a large screened-in porch you'll see when you come up to the adoption center, exclusively for the cats. And I saw a few sunning out there one day. The sun was on half of the porch, and the cats were just basking in the sun. And they like to play.
Oh,
and
yes.
Cats need toys, and cats need something to scratch on. That's just in their nature, is it not?
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. It is just ingrained in a cat to scratch. I definitely would recommend scratching posts at the house because it's just something that they do. It's a way of marking territory and also a way of shedding their nails. Their nails grow constantly, and it's a way to shed off that outer layer.
And what other supplies does a person need if they adopt a cat? Obviously, they need a litter box, and they need to take daily care of that litter box and know how to do that for the cat's health and for their family's health. And we've got a carrier here. Tell us, what are the instances where a cat uses a carrier?
Oh, I would say anytime you're going to take a cat into a car. Cats are not like dogs with, car rides. Generally, it does freak them out. It's not natural, I think, for them to be moving in anything that's, going at a high speed. So when you take them to the vet, definitely. Have a carrier that keeps them contained, and it also makes them feel safe, kind of their little safe place.
Right, and I noticed you rolled up a towel to make it more comfortable in there before you brought Artemis over this morning, and she's getting real playful there.
Yeah.
How many times a year do you need to take your cat to the veterinarian?
Well, I mean, for vaccinations, yearly.
Once a year.
So once a year.
And what are some of the common ailments that a cat might acquire that would require you to take it to the vet another time of the year? Because I've heard of sneezing and upper respiratory is a huge problem in cats.
Yes.
How does a person recognize that? Just to hear the cat sneeze?
Sneezing, and the sneezing would have to be pretty consistent, along with maybe some other problems, watery eyes, nasal discharge, things of that nature. If you have a cat that's indoor-outdoor, there's always that potential that a cat can get into a fight with either another cat or wild animal, and that can cause a problem because if they've been bitten and it gets infected, that can get quite expensive.
Well, it's also important if you have other cats, especially with the upper respiratory, you don't want that to spread between them. Because many people that have cats have more than one. Like you, I think you told me you have 3 now.
Yes, I
at
do.
Home. Yeah, and I'm sure it's hard to resist with all the cute ones that come into the shelter. Artemis has really behaved well today. We appreciate her appearing on the program. Right now, there are probably about how many cats available for adoption at Williamson County Animal Control?
I would say they're probably about 30.
30? Okay. And they're all sizes, shapes, and colors.
Oh, yes.
They all have a backstory, and they are all different in their personalities. I've seen that when I go in the cat room. And cats are interesting and beautiful animals, and they make great pets. If you think you might want to adopt a pet, I would encourage you to come to Williamson County Animal Control and Adoption Center. And we have cats and dogs, of course. Marci's was nice enough today to bring one of our cats and show us a little bit about cat behavior and tell us a little bit about their care. And Marci, we appreciate that so much. We have a number of cats available. If you want to come by, we're located at the entrance just north of Franklin High School on Claude Yates Drive. We're behind the Columbia State Campus. So if you'll follow the signs on Hillsborough Road that say Animal Control and Adoption or Columbia State, you will find us. So come by. We'd encourage you to see one of our cats, take one out of the kennel, play with it a little while, and hopefully you'll end up being an adoptee. If so, you would pay a fee of $45, and that would include spaying and neutering your animal before you took it home, all the immunizations, and you're getting a healthy, well cared for animal from our shelter. We thank you again and hope that you will consider adopting a cat or dog at Williamson County Animal Control. We'll be back in a moment, and we'll start a segment about adopting dogs and how that differs a little from cats and what you should look for if you're going to adopt a dog.
When bicyclists and motorists encounter each other, one fundamental rule applies: share the road. Cyclists have the same rights and responsibilities as motorists. They are required to travel on the right side of the road in the same direction, obeying the same traffic rules.
Remember that everyone has a right to the roadway. It is a public road, but everyone has to observe the rules of the road. They apply to the motorists and the bicyclists alike.
When encountering a cyclist, Tennessee state law requires that the motorist waits for a clear lane and provides 3 feet of clearance while passing. Remember, same road, same rules, same rights.
I am for the child who lives in motels, cars, and shelters, now in foster care, a group home, where he sleeps not on a bed, but on a temporary cot. He is the child I am for. I am a CASA volunteer. I am you.
Welcome back to Pet Watch. In the second half of our show today, we'll be talking with Mark Basenberg, who is our Community Relations Coordinator. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Debbie.
Glad to have you back. In this part of the show, we're going to talk about dog adoption. We covered cats pretty well with Marci in the first half, and you're a dog go-to guy, so I brought you in for the dog adoption.
Okay.
The process is pretty much the same, is it not, for animals that are brought into the shelter that end up in adoption, have gone through a process.
That's true. It is just like what Marci said. We hold them for 7 business days if they were brought in as a stray, to give the owners time to reclaim them and for us to kind of evaluate the dogs and things like that, yes.
Right, and once they make it to adoption, they're healthy and immunized, and then our volunteer staff interacts with them on a daily basis. We've talked about the importance of our volunteers before. One of the things, of course, that differs between dogs and cats is that the dogs go outside many times a day.
Right.
And are taken on leash walks. Can you tell us about a typical dog that's in our adoption area? What's his day like?
Well, he greets his breakfast volunteers at about starting at 7 a.m. and that's kind of the quick bathroom break. You know, after overnight, they get them outside, shorter walks. You know, first thing in the morning. So there's a group that are there almost every day that get those dogs out. We start with the ones that are house trained first. You know, get them out first, and then take the second ones, you know, the other group as well. So they all get walked, and then they all get a second walk shortly thereafter. And then throughout the day, there's kind of a trickling of volunteers, and you know, certain ones kind of come in around the lunch hour, and all the dogs get out again, and then in the afternoon they get out a couple more times. So typically 4 to 5 to 6 walks a day.
That's great. And one of the things that does is it starts to teach the dog, regardless of what his prior circumstances were and where the dog happened to come from, we don't know in all cases. But there is a routine, which is great for a family later or a person who adopts a dog, that the dog already knows the routine, and the routine is to go outside for the bathroom purposes and to learn to walk on a leash.
Important, yeah. A lot of times we'll get a dog, it's never seen a leash, but it's never been on a leash, and they don't know what to do, but they learn quickly. And our volunteers are great at working with them and trying to help them with that, because, you know, a lot of times the first day you'll end up with the leash wrapped tightly around your own legs, and the dog just doesn't know what to do.
Right, so. And you can see a progression with an animal, with a dog especially, not being familiar with sometimes with a lot of human contact and reacting to everything that moves, to turning into a calmer dog that's ready to go into a family. And in talking about dog behavior, it is a little different than cats in that dogs are various sizes. They have various instincts in whatever their breeds happen to be, or their predominant breeds.
Right.
Talk a little bit about caninality. It's a program we implemented last year.
Right.
Tell us what caninality testing is.
The intent of it, and it works very well, it's a program developed by the ASPCA, and it's used nationally at a number of shelters. And the program was designed to lower the return rate, so to keep people from adopting the wrong sort of personality, activity level of dog or whatever. And the national return rate is about 12% of adoptions. We're at about 7% historically, like last year we were. So we're above the curve, ahead of the curve already, but you know, we want to do better, because we really notice those dogs that once you have a dog in adoption and it gets adopted and then gets brought back, you know, that's kind of we all get sad about that.
Yeah, we do. We do.
But the caninality, back to your question, is really just think of it as a personality test for the dog. And then we ask our people when they come in, potential adopters when they come in the building, if they would be willing to take just a quick little 2-minute questionnaire, and that kind of helps us figure out what's
Right.
probably a good fit for a type of dog for them.
Right, and I've seen some of the categories for the dogs.
Yeah.
It's like busy bee.
Yeah.
If you want a dog that lays on the couch and doesn't do anything, you don't want a busy bee.
That's
And
exactly right.
If you're not willing to play with it, you don't want a busy bee dog. So that's just an example of matching a family or a person with the right dog from the beginning. And some of their options are of course, our dog may be in a kennel when they come by the shelter, and then they can ask a volunteer or a staff member to help them get the dog out,
That's
put it
right.
on a leash, and go outside.
That's right.
And there are
they-
places to walk about, are there not?
There are. There are areas where they can go. They can either just walk or they can go into a play area and take the dog off leash and just get to know it a little bit. See if it likes to chase a tennis ball, or see if it likes to play tug with a tug toy, or see if it just wants to roll around in the grass and enjoy the sunshine.
You know, and we get to know our dogs so well sometimes that we know who you do not give a towel or a blanket to,
Yeah, we do.
or who you do not give a tennis ball to.
Right.
So those are little things that we can tell you when you come in, and many times we can say it's good with other dogs or cats because we happen to know that, or we've observed it to be good with children or not good with children, or afraid
Right.
of a certain noise or whatever. So
Yeah, we know a lot of that stuff just by, especially after they're there for, oftentimes we don't have a time limit at our shelter, as I've said many times before. Once a dog goes into adoption, there's no time limit. It's going to stay with us until it finds a good home. And the only exceptions being if it develops some kind of serious, untreatable medical issue or
Right.
behavioral issue.
Right.
But
And
it's
we
rare.
adopted out how many dogs last year, approximately?
Oh, I think it was about 900 dogs last year.
Wow.
We average about 80 a month dog adoptions.
That's great.
About 70 a month cat adoptions.
Yeah, and we've been trying to capture that on pictures, and I love to encourage people to friend Williamson County Animal Shelter on Facebook,
Right.
because it keeps you up to date with where we'll be in the community and events that we might be having or needs that we have.
Right.
And it's also a way to celebrate the good things that happen every day over there.
Yeah.
All the adoptions, all the groups and Girl Scout troops and birthday parties that kids have. I've seen lately a lot of kids are having birthday parties, and instead of gifts, they ask their friends to bring things for the shelter, and then they all get in the car and come over there.
They do. It's wonderful. It's really a great thing to see the kids do that.
Yeah.
And money. Some of them just take. It's almost like tithing at church or something. They
Right.
take a percentage of their what money that they earn from their little jobs, and they actually bring us the cash.
Yeah, that's nice,
yeah.
and we appreciate that so much because that's exposing the children to the
Yeah.
process of adoption and
Right.
animals that might otherwise be unwanted or not looked at when considering a pet. I say go to the animal control and adoption center first
That's what we say.
before you consider anything else. The cost is low for
Yes.
acquiring the animal, and
Right.
you know that it is in need of a new home. Other than the personality of a dog, what are other considerations a family might have if they think they might want to adopt a dog?
There's so many things they need to consider. I think the key word to me is commitment. You've got to realize this: if you come in and you see a cute little fluffy puppy that's 12 weeks old, it's not going to stay like that forever, and it's going to be a big. It's such a huge commitment. Because the dog is going to live maybe 15 years, and there's expense. I mean, to be a responsible pet owner, you need to get its annual vaccinations. You need to get its, go to the vet whenever something is wrong. So,
Right.
so there is a large financial commitment. But it's, if it's important to you that your house remain in a condition that, Better Homes and Gardens could come in and do a photo shoot at any moment, then, maybe you need to think about a ferret or something. I don't know. But,
Yeah.
but dogs are going to make a little bit of a mess.
Right.
Things are going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just it's just such a commitment. And another thing about a shelter, we have a lot of older dogs. I mean, dogs that, let's say they're 2 years old to you know, on up to 10-year-old dogs even. You don't, those dogs have gone through their puppy chew stage. You don't have to do all the super hard training when they're little and the little yappy crying all night sort of thing.
Chewing up your shoes and staying up all night.
All that stuff you can
That's
almost...
over with an adult dog.
Yeah, so
and,
you can eliminate that.
And senior dogs that are surrendered are often surrendered by the family of an older person who is going into an assisted living situation, or and they tragically don't want to part with their pet, but their pets are sometimes part of the family, and they're older too. And we've had dogs 8 and 10 years old, and that may be a little harder to adopt, but are so special in that they have lived their lives as companions to other people, one-on-one companions in many cases, and they're lost in a shelter environment, and they really need somebody new that will let them be their companion, because I think dogs do become part of the family. And if you can't accept that, then you don't need to have a dog.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
A dog has to be taken care of when you're not at home.
Right.
You don't want to have a large dog that needs a lot of space and try to put it in a crate every day. It may not be happy there, and it may not be the best thing for it.
Especially if it's one of our higher energy type dogs that we've identified through the caninality. And then if somebody says, you know, well, we're gone from the home, both of us are gone all day, so that dog's probably not going to do well in that environment. Yeah,
and if you have other pets at home, we have actually encouraged people to come and bring their current pet on a walk, and we'll bring the animal they think they might want to adopt and let them kind of meet and get to know each other.
Right, and there's certain proper ways to introduce one dog to another, and you know, we know how to do that. So.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've started in the year that you and I've been there is that we don't just adopt out of the building on Claude Yates Drive by Franklin High School. We have many outside events. And we have a new mobile adoption center, which is an actual trailer that's equipped with heating and air conditioning and plumbing, and we pull it behind and we open the side, kind of like a food truck, and our animals are on display. It's especially good for transporting cats to adoption events.
It is.
Because a person can walk up and actually look at the cats. And you might see Mac around town.
You'll see Mac at the Main Street Festival, for example. It's going to be there April 27th and 28th.
Right.
And lots of others. We use it for the the bigger events, typically like the annual Mars adoption event and things like that.
Right. And one thing I want to say before I forget is that we are in part of the Pedigree Feeding Project. And so our animals, from the time they enter our building, both the cats and dogs do receive a high-quality pedigree food donated by Pedigree as part of that feeding project. So they're healthy, and we can advise people about nutrition and care when they adopt an animal. We have some resources there in the building that they can look at. Upcoming events that we are having on May 4th, May 11th, and May 25th will be at PetSmart at 8105 Moores Lane. That's the shopping center right behind the Outback Restaurant, just off I-65 at Moores Lane. That's May 4th, 11th, and 25th on Saturdays. And we'd like for you to stop by one of those events if you'd like, or come by the Animal Control Building. We're open for intake Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Adoptions start at 10 a.m. The adoption area is open at 10. That gives us a little time to clean up and care for the dogs that morning before the public comes in. So I invite you to come by after 10 a.m. and stroll through Monday through Friday, or on Saturdays from 11 to 3. Dog adoptions are $65, and that includes the spay and neuter will already be done on your animal, and all the immunizations and so forth. If you'd like more information, please friend us on Facebook, or catch us at one of those remote adoption events I mentioned, or come by and see us. You can also go to adoptwcac.org and view all our adoptable animals. And if you have any questions, please call us at the shelter at 790-5590. Thank you again, Mark, and I hope some people will come by and ask some questions about dogs and cats, because we have some wonderful animals looking for permanent homes. Thank you again for watching Pet Watch.
If I could talk to the animals, just imagine it, chatting with a chimp and chimpanzee. Imagine talking to a tiger, chatting with a cheetah. What a neat achievement it would be. If we could talk to the animals, learn all their languages, maybe take an animal degree, I'd study elephant and eagle, buffalo and beagle, alligator, guinea pig, and flea. I would converse in polar bear and python,